a little technical difficulty. So hopefully you found the video. Welcome in. I am Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness. And this is our full moon in Taurus reading. We're going to look at the energy of the full moon via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come in. So let's get into it. This full moon's really interesting. It's there's a lot of aspects to it that can maybe feel a little bit tense, a little bit emotionally jarring or triggering. We are in Scorpio season right now, which is a water sign, water energy. And so it definitely has a tendency to kind of heighten things in our emotional world. And usually the name of the game with full moon energy is that we just have to find ways to navigate through to the best of our ability. It's not always easy. And honestly, this one has been pretty emotional. I've been connecting with a lot of different people, clients, and it's a little bit heavy, and things have been heavy in general lately anyway. I feel like this is a little bit of a theme we've been carrying on for quite some time. It's getting a little bit annoying or frustrating or over and done with it type energies. And we actually just did the weekly reading last night, and the energy really was pointing to this idea of resilience. We're seeing that magnified in the astrology as well for the full moon in Taurus. Taurus is earth energy, so it gives us an opportunity to kind of tap into that grounding and stability, but it's a choice. It's really interesting. I was researching, reading, diving into the astrology a little bit today, and there's this value of it's a lot about a choice. We have two paths in front of us. We can make decisions accordingly. And really, honestly, truly based on our emotional world, how we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're dealing with, who and what we're contending with, how far we've come along in those learning lessons, so to speak, is really going to dictate what path we choose and what the outcome will be. There has been a huge emphasis on awareness, right? Just really kind of just being honest with yourself, even if it does mean acknowledging some things that aren't as fun or a little bit more difficult or things that, we kind of just wish weren't the way that they were, right? Like we can't, unfortunately or not, like we can't always control everything, right? We can't control what people say or what they do or how they respond, etc. But we can control ourselves. And that really becomes the silver lining through this all. We'll dive in a little bit deeper. I like to start my readings off with an energy cleansing, just kind of set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a really great time to set your own intention as well, especially if you come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It's a really great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of health and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of that realignment of self, your mind, body, soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are aligned in self, when we have that level of awareness, which really comes from self-love, self-care, then we are manifesting things that make us happy, feel fulfilled, abundant, etc. We all totally deserve it. I would love to help support in whatever way possible, always. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, with that, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that we may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love, Mama Love. All right, so I'm hearing there's like this energy, you're in this energy of like reevaluation. You want to make sure that you are like quote unquote dotting your I's, crossing your T's, right? Like I feel like, I don't know, you're kind of checking yourself up is what I was seeing. Being thorough, but then also doing another, like a double check, making sure that you kind of have everything crossed off your list, so to speak. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the chat, so I apologize if anyone is saying anything. I can't seem to find it, but please forgive me. I might be, yeah. So forgive me if I'm not responding. I'm having technical difficulty. We're actually about to go into Mercury retrograde. Speaking of, we're on the horizon of that. And so I feel like the full moon is kind of this kickoff, right? Like it's full moons generally signify manifestation. It's like as we are plugging along our path, full moons really kind of showcase where we're at, how far we've come, so to speak, on that path, or whatever the goal, whatever the desire is to achieve at the end of the day. It can be very emotionally triggering, like I pointed out in the very beginning. We already have 3 planets in retrograde right now: Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And Mercury and Jupiter are going to be following on the 9th and the 10th or the 11th, I believe. Okay, I like this. The focus this full moon is on healing. Chiron is the wound healer. It is what bridges the outer planets to the inner planets. And it really kind of signifies the way that like we understand these deeper life lessons we're moving through in our life, those kind of spiritual evolutions or just karma or, you know, bigger life, however you want to categorize it, right? Chiron is shedding light on those things. And I'm hearing so you can move forward. 28 breaks down to a 10 in numerology. And we are seeing endings, like things are on the horizon. Endings are on the horizon. That was actually coming through last night in our weekly reading. Right now, there's some resistance to that. And we're seeing this manifest in the astrology, specifically with Jupiter and Mars. Because Mars is ready to be up and running. Like Mars is ready to be done and over with some of the hubbub and wanting to move forward. But there's still some limitations. This might come in the way of friends, community, people that are surrounding you. I feel like as you've been trying to branch out or as you've been trying to take those next steps, you're specifically coming into obstacles around who and what you're able to connect with. It just feels like limitation. It feels like restriction. And I don't get this as something like self-imposed. I don't think this is about like you doing something bad and wrong or like, you know, oh, you need to like look at this or be better about this. It's not about that. It's just, sorry, my stuff is blowing up tonight, apparently. Okay, messages, communication. I love this, honestly. I swear, definitely go check out the weekly reading if you have not. Messages, communication came in the same spot. So there is a heavy emphasis on communication today. Mercury retrograde, this is also the card of Mercury. Mercury retrograde has a tendency to also bring out those things that have loose ends, that do need to be focused or do need to be addressed to either receive closure or some type of understanding, finding some peace, balance, harmony, so that we can move forward. And that's really what Mercury retrograde does. So Scorpio season can be intense. Scorpio is an intense energy in and of itself. It has the ability to kind of go to those darker places of the psyche, right? Like what we deem the shadow self. It's ruled by Pluto, Lord of the underworld. And so when we think about those places that might not be where angels fear to tread, is what I was hearing, like there is this element of really needing to know that like, you are safe. You are secure. Sometimes we do have to confront our demons. And honestly, I do feel like some of these demons are coming out, or maybe there's something that you might have to be honest about. I'm hearing humility. And it's not necessarily giving someone or something else justification, because I'm hearing this humility is about honesty with yourself. It's about being comfortable to be okay with those parts of yourself that might not be so pretty, but also not like letting that be the defining point in like whatever this situation is. We'll dive a little bit deeper in with the tarot. So the Descendant is invitation. It's, the Descendant is really about kind of going back into our ancestral lineage, if you will. It kind of goes back to that value of a lot of the times where we see shadow or bad patterns of behavior, etc. We end up picking those up from our parents, grandparents, family of origin, so to speak. And I feel like sometimes when we do, it looks like there is an invitation. There's an invitation to kind of visit some things that I think might be a little bit difficult, or as you're looking into something, whether it's having a tough conversation, whether it's revisiting something about yourself or about a dynamic that's been really hard to look at, that's been really painful. Yes, I'm hearing it looks worse than what it actually would be. Like I'm hearing, yes, obviously there is this value of not being afraid to face those fears. Keep yourself safe. I always say that, right? Never put yourself in a situation where there could be any type of harm, physical, mental, emotional, etc. Because it does look like there is an absence of love. I mean, as I'm saying that, right? Like, so obviously everyone's going to be in different situations. These are general readings. Take what resonates. Don't try to force it. Leave the rest behind, right? But there is kind of this value where we do need to be mindful when we are dealing with people, situations where there isn't love present, or where that's not the central focus. I'm not saying you have to be all hippy dippy, like pretend things, there aren't problems or everything's like nice, light and fluffy. It's not about that specifically. I'm hearing this is more about like, okay, wow, this is intense. This is 4 major arcana. We have the Chariot, the Lovers, the Magician, and the Star. So there's some big healing happening underneath the surface. And maybe that's where the love has been absent, right? Maybe this is kind of where something in your world you do feel separate from. But there's good things that are happening around this, right? If you don't have this relationship, this connection, whether it's love, Venus, yes, represents love, but it's also really talking about like the beautiful things in our life, the way that we kind of bring in people, dynamic situations to like beautify our world, right? Like we don't all want to be walking around with shitty people, shitty situations to be dealing with. And here's the thing, I feel like that becomes the value of evaluating some of this. Places where maybe you have got gotten caught up with the wrong people, the wrong dynamics, the dynamics that aren't supportive, that haven't been loving, that haven't been nurturing. And it feels like you're seeing the disconnect, obviously, because healing is in your energy. And I feel like, and that's the theme, right? And healing, I don't know, it's not popular. It's not a fun thing to do. It's a rough process. It's hard to be aware. It's hard to be honest. It's hard to look at things that like we don't want to see that way, right? But what you get out of it is something incredibly powerful. These are all really beautiful cards in the tarot, in the major arcana. The Chariot signifies you grabbing the bull by the horns and like really taking initiative and standing in your power and knowing how to navigate the good, the bad, the ugly. The Lovers are aligning with partnerships, with community, with relationships that are sharing in that reciprocity. What you've been longing for, what your vision has been, it is coming into being, even though it doesn't really feel that way. Because again, we have the Seven of Wands, we have the Hierophant, which tags back to that resilience I was talking about from the weekly reading. Not to keep referencing it, there's a lot of parallels. I just did it last night, so that kind of makes sense too. But okay, so something is kind of looming that might be a little scary, or it might look scarier, scary on the surface, scarier than what you want it to be. It does feel like there has been some level of avoidance, not in a bad way. I think this is self-protection, but I feel like actually you've created space from something that you're a little bit more stronger. You're stronger around number one. You're more healed around number two. So you are ready to quote unquote grab the bull by the horns, and whomever, whatever you're dealing with, you're catching them at the right time, right place. Eight of Pentacles energy is something that like wants to work with you. And is kind of willing and open, right? Because Eight of Pentacles is all about refinement. It's about mastery, actually, right? It's putting in the work, and we have double confirmation on the eights, Eight of Wands. We also got Eight of Wands in our reading last night with this messages communication. So Spirit's really confirming a lot of this across the board. Someone coming in to talk to you, someone wanting to partnership with you, someone putting a good foot forward, doing, and again, I think this is a lot of because you have done work on yourself, because you've created, oh my gosh, dude, I don't know. Like we're getting a lot of parallels from last night. So, I'm Five of Pentacles and Page of Cups. So I feel like you've softened around something, and you're letting something be okay. And I think this is good. I think this is necessary. I want to clarify some of these things we didn't really touch on last night, though. I don't want to make this a double reading, right? Okay. So we have Ace of Wands with the Descendant. We have Page of Pentacles. And, ooh, the World. Okay, yeah. So this really does look like this is... Let me clarify one more. Because it does feel, yeah, 100%. Someone's taking it for granted. And again, this is like a very similar energy that we were getting last night, just in terms of as we heal, like we have to put things into practice, right? Like as we're healing, as we're growing. And I feel like this is what it's all about for you. You're the one that's coming into something that's like testing you a little bit. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's this matter of actually like overcoming something that maybe was harder to do in the past. And I feel like it looks 100% like someone's resurfacing around this. And like I said, going into it, you might feel a little bit more nervous or afraid or hesitant, but you're actually stronger than what you give yourself credit for. And you're actually more intuitive than what you've given yourself credit for. Because the whole reason that, like, you know, it's like, I feel like you are protecting yourself in a new way, in a way that is more powerful, in a way that is leading you to better connections that are actually in alignment with what you're wanting. And a lot of times we have to purge that stuff out, right? The old stuff that really wasn't in alignment. And I feel like that's been partially where this disconnect has come into play. Maybe choosing too many people dynamics that really don't work with you, or kind of turning a blind eye to certain patterns of behavior that you've let slip with people. And it looks like you're changing that tune. And I feel like you're changing that tune in the way that you are kind of holding someone's foot to the fire. I don't think they really like it. Yeah. But you're good within yourself. You're looking at how far you've come. You're able to, on some level, give yourself some amount of credit, validation for how far you've come, for what you've built. Yeah, I think parts of it are difficult because you have been feeling a little bit isolated, or a lack of love, a lack of genuine care, support, nurture. And again, that's what this is all about, this transition. Like I was talking about, the astrology is really highlighting places that we can continue on that path of like old patterns that might work-ish, but they really don't support. They're really not sustaining, especially long term. Okay. Intention with this person. They're starting to soften as well. There's a softening all across the board is what I would say. But they know how something's going to go. This feels a little bit premeditative. Like they already know how something's going to go. But they're still putting in an effort. They're still hoping that maybe if they give it one last ditch effort, and this definitely feels like one last ditch effort because again, we're seeing closure being highlighted. I feel like you are challenging someone. We have Queen of Cups, Knight of Cups, Two of Swords. You're challenging someone to step up. And it feels a little bit like not so much, especially with that Four of Cups energy. We talked a lot about this last night, water underneath the bridge. Can we give it a new message? I don't know. Let's see if there's anything else that we can pull from this Ten of Wands. Releasing burdens, I'm hearing. The ending of a cycle. Finding, you're getting a little bit more peace. More rest. It's cultivating more space for your heart. Knight of Wands. He came up last night too. It's insane. I swear I'm not just like saying this just to watch the videos. But there's so many overlaps from last night to this night. I mean, and it makes sense. Like just to give you a few of the details, the Taurus full moon is happening tomorrow morning. Well, depending on where you're located, but it's so, and sorry, and it is a super full moon. So a lot of times it doesn't necessarily mean anything different specifically, but a lot of times it can kind of just like magnify. It can make things feel a lot bigger than what they actually are. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily make things bigger, but it can make it seem as if it is. And that's where you're really going to benefit from some solitude, from some you time. If you can't have that, keep things really simple. Just try not to go down that K-hole, especially if someone's trying to like emotionally provoke or get a reaction, get a rise out of you. It's not really worth it right now. It's better to focus on self. We're getting Aries energy to confirm that. It's actually good to be self-absorbed. And, fire energy is a little bit arrogant in the way that it's like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I need to do because it's best for me. The downside, like I said, is Mars is tensely aspected to Uranus. And that's actually one of the major players in the astrology. where, especially because Uranus is retrograding back into Taurus this week. So it's forcing us to contend with things. And like I said, Mars is ready to be on to the next thing. So if we get a little too selfish or too self-absorbed, it can end up backfiring. Just be mindful. There is more to come. And that's where I feel like Spirit's trying to give you a heads up. Like, you're still in this, what do I see overarching? You're still in this process of healing, of growing. So try not to be too hard on yourself. There's things that are working and there's things that are not. And the looser we can hold on to expectations of outcomes of how things are going, looking at it more as a learning lesson, right? Like each experience, yeah, you might want certain outcomes, but keep expectations light. And when you go in with that vision of like, I'm just using this to learn. I'm using this to learn the information that I need to learn about this person, about this situation, what it's going to give me, whether it's working for me or not. And then I can kind of take that back. Four of Swords energy, think it through, meditate on what my ideals are, how I want things to play out, what my expectations are. And like I said, it's coming to a head. It's all coming to a head. I'm going to pull one more just as a... Yeah, I like this. You know, and I love that. Double confirmation. I thought this was the Earth. Sorry, but it's double confirmation on Venus. I love that. And I was literally just going to say, it's like, regardless of what this dynamic is, I feel like as this closure happens, it is really opening up to a new dynamic, something that's really powerful, something that is long waited for you. I guess that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope it wasn't a bad thing. You know, I don't look at it as a bad thing, I should say. It's good when we're getting those confirmations because it really is just talking about like being on the right path. Like you have the strength, you have the fortitude, you're moving in the right direction. Don't look at the delays as though they're negative things. It's actually working in your favor right now. Maybe just accept the space that you have. Really enjoy it for yourself. Spend time with yourself, loving, supporting, nurturing your wants, your needs, getting your own stuff done, etc. And I feel like that's where you're going to find the most success. It's not about pushing the agenda forward, right? Mars is going to get us into a lot of trouble, especially if we are functioning out of emotion. Get extra rest, take care of yourself. Take time that you need for you as often as you can, right? And thanks so much for tuning in always. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the messages. I appreciate all the love, all the support. Know that I am sending that love and support back to you. Thank you so much for all the blessings. Appreciate you. Have a happy, happy full moon. Sorry, I'm used to ending and I haven't figured out a good way to do this yet.